I was asked to teach a course at a seminary on church law many years ago. A couple of weeks before the class started, I realized there were no books available addressing church legal issues. I assembled notes that eventually became my first book that was called Pastor, Church, and Law.
What do you think is the largest legal or tax threat for churches today?
Well, I think the biggest tax threat would be for clergy, and that's the continuing attack or assault on the housing allowance, which is the greatest tax benefit available to ministers. So that's something I monitor carefully. That would have just a catastrophic impact on ministers in this country. The number one reason churches are in court today, as is true for 5 of the last 6 years, has been the sexual molestation of minors. So this is not speculation, it's not assumption, it's not inference. I can tell you, based on reading the cases, which are about 1,000 every month, that the number one reason churches are sued today is because of that issue.
The ministerial exemption case at the Supreme Court and how they will define who a pastor is. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, that is a very significant case. It will be decided by the Supreme Court here in just probably 2 to 4 months. Which involves the definition of the so-called ministerial exception, which is a rule that's been adopted by many courts in this country that says that the civil courts are barred by the First Amendment religious freedom guarantee from resolving employment disputes between ministers and churches. The problem is, over the last several years, this exception has been expanded to include people that are really not traditional or conventional pastors. It includes teachers in church schools or preschools even. It includes music directors. And so should the ministerial exception apply to these people as well? And that's the battle line right now, and the courts have disagreed with regard to that. There's no dispute that a pastoral minister that's serving as a pastor in a church, the ministerial exception currently applies, but it's with regard to the peripheral positions, that people that are in non-ministerial positions but do have religious functions within the church, to what extent they're going to be protected, the church will be protected by the ministerial exception in the employment decisions that it makes with regard to those people. So it'll be interesting to see how that case comes out.
Tell us about your history with the Cutler Insurance Company.
Well, that goes back many years with Tom and Charlie. It's been a wonderful relationship. I have the highest regard for those guys, and the work they're doing is just second to none. I mean, the resources they provide, the experience that they've attained over the years, I marvel at. And part of that is they're inviting me to come out and address conferences here, which I've done a number of times over the last 7 to 10 years. And it's just always such a delight on a personal level to be able to renew fellowship with Tom and Charlie. They've done a great job in providing an exceptional service to the church. And it's an honor for me anytime they ask me to come out and as a co-worker, as a co-laborer in the field, because we all have the same interest, and that's protecting churches. And to work with people of this caliber and of this excellence, it's a privilege for me.